See, once you have a sighting, you don't stop videotaping. That's when you get your camera start videotaping.
UFO sightings can have a phenomenal effect on the people who have had just such an experience. Their life and their beliefs can be forever changed. One individual that has had not one but several different experiences is retired Texas State Corrections Officer Mauricio Ruiz. Ruiz was first acknowledged after he reported videotaping a UFO near his home in Alvin, Texas on April 11, 2008. Open Minds first posted the video of this sighting back in 2010. However, more occurrences took place over the next few months. Just a couple of days after the first sighting, Mauricio noticed something strange with his cell phone.
On April 11, 2008, I had my cell phone with me. This is the actual cell phone. Well, within a day or two, I couldn't use it no more. I could dial, I could hear people talking, but I just found it strange that embedded on it is a strange figure. My way of seeing things is about two eyes or a silhouette of something, like they're a hooded person. It's open for interpretation. What I actually noticed from this phone that it stopped giving me what they call a screen visual. I couldn't, dial no more because the numbers wouldn't show up. Yes, something strange was also embedded on my phone as a result of that sighting.
Many people will say he dropped it or damaged it in some way. Maybe, but one thing should be considered. Many UFO events have had detections of anomalous magnetic fields around the sighting. Could this be the cause of this unusual occurrence? Well, maybe that's not enough to convince someone that Ruiz has had true anomalous incidents. However, the following evening after his first sighting, Ruiz had another one.
Right after the sighting, on the 12th of April, about 8:30 at night, I videotaped a strange light that landed on a field 500 feet away from my house, on an empty field. And this really got my attention. These things are rotating. There's a star right here. There's a star. See, it's underneath. See, they're rotating. These flashes, these strobes are going around it, and it's just a ball of light. And it's got the spinning, rotating flashes of light. And here's the house right here. And it's going to the field behind, about 2 blocks away from the house. There's 3 or 4 acres of empty land. Just an empty field. Look, it's coming from way from the top. It's going down, multiple colors later, multiple colors, there you go. And what it does, it just lands on the field. And it just turns itself off. It just fades out. And there's the house, there's the trees out here, and it just landed. Now I'm gonna zoom out so you could tell, there you go. See, it landed right there on the field. This object, and there's a car in front of my house. So I'm looking at it from my house, 2 blocks away on an empty field, and therefore it stops. Some, white trucks mysteriously started showing up with, 4-wheelers, 4-wheel drives, and they started scanning the area. And I said, nobody goes out there to the empty field, but they said they were testing for something, but they told us to stay away when I asked what they were doing.
Again, maybe this sighting does have some logical explanation. However, we must take into consideration that Ruiz is a retired Texas State Corrections Officer. He is also a father and a husband. He never once asked Open Minds for money or any other type of compensation. So why would he lie? He does not want fame, and he has not written any books to promote. He truly has no reason to hoax or lie about these occurrences. On April 13th, 2 days after his first sighting, Ruiz noticed something going on in the sky in the middle of the day.
We're talking about April 13th, 2008, almost at 1 o'clock. Crystal clear skies, beautiful, nice and sunny. Nothing going around, nothing unusual, but I'm scanning for UFOs. As you could tell, previously something had happened. I noticed that there was a strange cloud, a cloud that materializes before my eyes, my camera, straight in front of me. That's something strange. As you could tell, a few seconds have just gone by. There's a cloud that materializes from a triangular shape to a complete cloud in itself. Inside the cloud, there's a round, shiny object. I don't know if it's the sun shining straight at it and it's reflecting it, but my interpretation, my way of looking at it, it materialized right there in front of my camera where there was nothing at all.
Skeptics will want to write this off as just some anomalous weather occurrence, but it's hard to deny the frequency of all these events. Everything seemed to settle down in Ruiz's life for a few months. No sightings, no strange cloud formations, and no electrical occurrences.
At this hour, the eye of Hurricane Ike is moving toward major population areas along the Gulf Coast.
In September of 2008, Hurricane Ike hit Alvin, Texas, and caused an estimated $29.5 billion of damage along the U.S. coastal and inland areas. Ruiz's home suffered considerable damage.
Most of the houses that were by the siding area were damaged, including mine. So I had to relocate myself to another house. In the process of relocating, I was in my place of business ready to go home, 8 o'clock at night. And just as I was getting on my truck, I looked towards the sky because something was coming in from where no other plane from Hobby Airport or Intercontinental Airports ever fly. See, I know the pattern of Hobby Airport and Intercontinental. They come from a certain area that I know it's planes, but these strange lights were about 10 of them, all in one particular line. I said, wait a minute, that is not a plane, that is nothing that I have seen, that is something unusual. So I stayed there, just looking at it. I said, this is an object that's triangular in shape, and it's moving towards where I'm at, and I saw it. And okay, the distance between me and the object was 2 telephone poles, let's say 2 utility lights, poles. You stack them together, that's how high it was. But it went over me, silent, so silent, I even saw it when it tilted a little bit to move towards another angle. And then it faded out of my view, but it didn't fade out from another witness that came to me and said, Mr. Reese, I believe you about your sighting. He said, I also saw a UFO. I said, where? He said, well, it was a triangular in shape. And when I saw it after a while, then it just took off.
But the most impactful sighting was yet to come. This happened while Mauricio was photographing, at the insurance company's request, damage to his home in Alvin.
I took a picture and it just happened to come out real clear. Since it wasn't moving fast, it gave me ample time to take a good shot, and there it is. That's one of the smaller scale, I call them micro UFOs because that's the only way I could explain. They're not big, but they're just enough to be seen and photographed. On this particular photo right here, which came out just right, because I noticed that a micro UFO approaching the utility pole, this is high electrical lines right here. And obviously this object came from the place that I had taken a photo of it. It started moving towards the utility pole, and I managed to get a good picture of it where it's so close to the power line and one of the transformer. My assumption, my way of thinking, this particular micro UFO, it could either be extracting electrical current or some sort of energy from the utility pole, because there's no way that anything could get so close to it without getting zapped or some sort of electrical current running through it. Yet this object managed to get so close to it, and as we could see by the picture, it's probably deriving some sort of energy from it. My conclusion, obviously. As you could tell, there's components underneath it that either they are receiving or transmitting or doing something to, like a surveillance type, I guess. My way of looking at this particular UFO is it's there for a purpose. People ask me, do you have witnesses? Do you have some other people that could collaborate with your story, like, where they're there to see it? There were some workers, roofers, doing some, job on the roof, and I holler at them. They're at a distance where they could see the object more close proximity than me, or at least at a better level. So they stopped. They dropped their hammer. They did whatever they were doing, and they're not taking a break. They're just standing and saying, "What the heck are you talking about?" And when they saw the object, this guy's still looking that way. This one's still thinking about it. This one's still scanning the sky. You could tell they dropped everything just to say, "What's going on?"
Was this really a micro UFO sent from an alien species? In a day and age of where so many people are talking about drones, could this just be another terrestrial drone? Possible. But remember, this happened in 2008, years before drones were so commonplace in society. Many believe that the clarity of these pictures actually detract from its veracity. These are the same people that want tangible proof and are so conditioned to the blurry images and video that normally document sightings that when someone actually captures something with clarity, we automatically assume it is not of extraterrestrial origin. What if we were to not rush to judgment, but take time to explore other theories? What if we open up our thoughts a little more and look at the possibility that this could be a drone from another life form? If we use drones for reconnaissance, then why is it so impossible to believe that an alien race would not do the same?
I'll tell you what, they're gonna be something that we're not allowed to get involved. I think it's a project. Either our government is already putting prototypes of silent triangular deals, or if there's any alien activity in this world and they've been here with us, but they have their ways to stay away from us, maybe they're also got their own, probes that come out looking at the earth without having to bother us. It's just an object. And I think the government may be behind him, or it could be of alien origin.
Most people don't want to even think in those terms. We have been conditioned to be so limited in our thinking that the most obvious signs of contact may be something actually hidden in plain sight. It wasn't long after Mauricio photographed this micro UFO that he got a visit from his neighbor.
Neighbor comes to me and say, "Mr. Reese, do you know behind your fence towards the backside of my house," I'm talking about the backside, "there's a street that goes by, but next to it on the side of the road, there's a hole. And it looks like somebody sucked some dirt out, and there was no trace of fresh dirt like somebody digging with a shovel. The hole was big enough to have a smaller animal or somebody just walking by and fall. So what I did, I managed to grab a broom handle made out of plastic, and I stuck it in there just for safety reasons, as an indicator. Now, the only thing strange about this hole, it doesn't have fresh dirt like somebody dug, the dirt the day before and they left, the fresh dirt. No, actually it had grass in the form of a crop circle. There was actually 3 or 4, round circles around it with dry grass. I'm talking about dry.
Open minds went to Alvin, Texas, and reunited Mauricio with his neighbors. They described exactly what they had seen.
Claret, in your own words, you think what you saw was something that not the ordinary in this area? Describe basically what you saw and what you think about it. Mm-hmm.
He was, first and all, the center had a hole.
And we're looking at it in this particular somehow, sort of like
yes,
this?
in this area, a hole.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how deep it was. I looked, and there was a circle around that hole. And that circle, it was perfect. There was no a variation to the size. Amazing. It was perfect.
There was no fresh dirt around the hole. It was sucked dry, basically. So you could not relate to a hole that somebody makes and say, okay, well, somebody came in and they were digging last night, and they left stuff around like
there was no dirt.
No traces
no
of dirt.
dirt of any kind. There was just a hole and a circle. There was not even crumbs out of the hole.
No.
Yes, like everything we just went in. Mm-hmm. But there's no showing any dirt around at
Correct. All. Your sister also is backing you up that that's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. We had a mysterious hole that just had no dirt around it, very dry, and it was deep and of some sort of consideration because of the size of the hole.
The size, and the grass around was green, but that circle was dry, like it had been dry.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
The grass in there.
So that is unusual.
Very unusual. And I called the city
There you go.
And I talked to the secretary, the mayor,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent him I believe it was the next day, I don't remember exactly, but they sent a crew with the machines and they kind of packed the hole up.
They came in a little bit early in the morning. It was not 8 o'clock in the morning. It was about 7:30. And they did never. Have you remember them putting orange tape around or a fence? I don't recall no fence or anything
No,
from them.
I don't recall that, yeah.
So we agreed that the hole was unprotected, and that not even the city knew about it. So obviously, if the city digs, they mark it. Is this something rare, something mysterious?
Yeah, it's very weird. I never had seen a hole like that, and I never had seen a circle dry like that, evenly, exactly round. So to me, it was something that I haven't seen before.
All of this adds up to some very astonishing incidents. Individually, they certainly have mitigation. However, all of this being experienced by one individual who is not out for money or fame makes one certainly stand up and take notice.
And I want any government official that's listening to me right now, that's actually looking at me, that what I'm gonna say is true. And this, I say it under oath.
Since our trip to Alvin, Maurizio has not reported any other anomalies. He has also not written any books, done any lecture tours, or in any way tried to turn his experiences into a money or fame-seeking expedition. He works quietly at his small post-retirement accounting practice and lives his life day to day. However, now his perspective has been permanently altered.
I think we're not the only ones in this planet. I think we're not sharing the planet just ourselves. And I could only say this. Before I go to sleep every night, I think this to myself, because he has changed me a lot. I had to have a lot of courage to come forward and say this, because people are some gonna ridicule me and say, oh, he's going crazy after 20-something years. He's finally losing it. Well, I'll tell you what, I carry a pistol in my job, weapons of high caliber, and I had inmates of high security, and nobody has ever escaped from me. I have never fired a shot in a psychological manner. So my sanity really is still the same, and I take pride in getting to know more people and serving the community. And as of right now, I'm very dedicated to my family, and my goal is to see my son and daughter achieve their goals in life.
If you have a UFO sighting or something you would like to report to Open Minds, you can go to our website at openminds.tv and click the contact button to send us your request. Or you can email us at contact@openminds.tv. You can also call us at 1-877-UFO-0110. That's 1-877-836-0110.